All right, let's go. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are marching into the Colosseum with Ridley Scott's Gladiator.
A true cinematic epic.
Absolutely. This is more than just swords and sandals. Gladiator, this film, it gets under your skin.
It stays with you.
It really does. We're talking loyalty, betrayal, revenge, the spectacle of ancient Rome.
And some truly powerhouse performances from Russell Crowe.
Oh, come on. Joaquin Phoenix, too.
Of course, how could we forget? What fascinates me about Gladiator, though, is that it's both a historical epic and this really intimate character study at the same time.
It's true. You get these sweeping shots of ancient Rome, brutal gladiatorial combat, all the political intrigue.
Right. But at its heart, it's really just one man's journey through grief, loss, and this desire for justice.
Okay, that opening scene alone. I mean, Scott just throws us right into the heart of the battle. The Germanic barbarians, the mud, the blood.
The sheer chaos of it all.
Maximus, just his strategic brilliance in that moment.
Oh, yeah.
It's filmmaking at its most visceral.
Visceral is a good word for it.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the spectacle either. Scott really uses slow motion, those close-ups, the sound design. All of it works together in that opening battle. It's about the psychological impact of war.
Yeah, you really feel that.
You see the toll it takes on Maximus, and I think that sets the stage for his entire journey, for the rest of the film.
And speaking of Maximus, can we just talk about Russell Crowe for a second? I mean,
Well-
he embodies this, stoic Roman general turned vengeful gladiator, just raw intensity.
Raw is a good word for it. He
Sure.
brings such weight to that role. You really see Maximus grappling with this internal conflict, his loyalty to Rome, his grief over his family, the rage against Commodus.
Oh, that race.
And the way that he transforms, it's gradual from this broken man into this symbol of hope in the arena. It's masterful.
All right, let's talk about Commodus.
Oh, here you go.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, wow. Just wow.
He is absolutely chilling. As this power-hungry, envious emperor, he makes your skin crawl. But there's this strange vulnerability there, too.
It's true. And that's what's so brilliant about what Phoenix does in this role. He doesn't shy away from Commodus's complexity.
Yeah.
It's not just a one-dimensional villain. You see his insecurity, you see that desperation for his father's approval, that fear, and it's what drives his cruelty, and it makes him fascinating and, honestly, terrifying.
It's true. You can't stop watching him. One thing that always strikes me about Gladiator is that contrast between Maximus's just unwavering loyalty to Rome
Yeah.
and Commodus's just ruthless ambition. It's like night and day.
They're such opposites. That tension between loyalty and betrayal, though, it's really at the core of this whole film. And it's not just personal, right? Like between the two characters.
It's bigger than that.
It represents this larger struggle for, like, the soul of Rome itself.
Yes.
Like, you have Maximus, who embodies those classic Roman ideals, honor, duty, justice.
Right.
And then you have Commodus, who represents that corruption.
Yeah.
It's eating away at the empire from within.
And that brings us to another central theme, revenge versus justice. Maximus starts out purely driven by revenge. His family's murdered.
Right.
But it evolves into something much greater. It does.
It totally does. It's right. As he becomes a gladiator, he's witnessing all this suffering, right?
He sees it.
The injustice. And his fight becomes this quest for a larger kind of justice. It's not about him anymore. It's for all of Rome.
He becomes this symbol, right?
He does, yeah. His fight in the arena becomes symbolic of the fight for the soul of the Republic.
You can't talk about Gladiator, though, without mentioning those combat scenes.
Brutal.
Visceral.
Intensely realistic. I mean, you can feel the sand. You can practically feel the blood.
Scott doesn't shy away from the brutality. And that's important because he wants you to understand this was life or death.
Yeah.
Men were forced to fight for their survival. Pure entertainment for the masses.
And he also highlights the skill involved, too, though.
Oh, absolutely. The strategy, the strange brotherhood that forms between these gladiators.
Mm.
There's this one scene that always gives me chills. It's right after his first victory in the arena, Maximus. He just stands there covered in blood, and he roars, "Are you not entertained?"
Powerful moment. So powerful. On the surface, it's a challenge to the crowd. Like he's saying, look what you've done.
Right.
But it's deeper than that, I think. It's like he's forcing them to look inward, to confront their own complicity in this whole brutal spectacle.
I want to get your take on this. The movie it takes some liberties with Roman history.
Yeah, for sure.
Like how much of it is actually accurate?
Okay, so there are some definite inaccuracies. Like Marcus Aurelius didn't choose Maximus as his heir. And there's really no evidence that Commodus murdered his father.
Right.
Their relationship was definitely strained, though. But the film, it captures that essence of the Roman Empire, that feeling of grandeur and decline,
Right.
power struggles.
It's more about capturing the spirit of the era rather than a strictly accurate historical account.
Yes, exactly. And I think by weaving in those fictional elements with the fact, Scott creates this world that feels both familiar and fantastical.
I like that.
And it allows the audience to connect with the characters, with their struggles, on a much deeper, more emotional level. And honestly, that's what great filmmaking is all about, right?
It is.
Connecting with that audience.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Before we were rudely interrupted by, real life,
Those pesky lions.
we were talking about the themes of loyalty, betrayal, revenge, and justice that drive this film.
Right. And all of that just comes to life through these phenomenal performances.
Absolutely.
I mean, we talked about Crowe's intensity as Maximus, but Joaquin Phoenix as the tormented Commodus, it's really something else.
It's a revelation.
Right.
He delivers a masterclass in portraying a character just eaten alive by his inner demons.
Yeah.
And what's so brilliant about it is Commodus isn't just some mustache-twirling bad guy.
No, he's driven by this deep insecurity, envy, this desperate need for validation, all stemming really from this messed up relationship with his father. And Phoenix captures all of that so brilliantly.
There's this one scene, it's just seared into my memory. It's after Commodus murders his father. And he goes to Maximus seeking his loyalty. Just the look on Maximus's face,
Oh, yeah.
that dawning realization of what Commodus has done. It's heartbreaking.
It's pivotal. That scene, it encapsulates Commodus's tragic downfall. This is a man who could have been a great leader. But his insecurities, his lust for power, it sends him spiraling down this path of disruption,
Classic Shakespearean tragedy.
playing out in ancient Rome.
Exactly. And for Maximus, that's it. That's the turning point. It's what transforms him from this loyal general into, a vengeful gladiator.
Let's talk about that transformation, because in the arena, Maximus goes from this broken man consumed by grief to the symbol of hope, defiance against tyranny. It's not just about revenge anymore.
Yep.
It's something much bigger.
It's like the arena becomes this crucible for him. He confronts his demons, his rage, his grief, and he rediscovers his strength, his purpose. He becomes this champion for the people, a symbol of resistance against Commodus's rule.
He does. And the supporting characters, I mean, they're captivating too. You've got Connie Nielsen as Lucilla.
Commodus's sister?
Right. She's phenomenal. Caught between her loyalty to her brother and, her own conscience.
She is fascinating. A woman trapped in this web of power, manipulation. She's struggling to protect her son, to find her own agency in this patriarchal world. And she makes some really tough choices that have serious consequences.
And then Oliver Reed as Proximo, that gruff but ultimately compassionate gladiator trainer. It's poignant, Knowing this was Reed's final role,
Yeah.
he brings such gravitas and warmth to that character.
Proximo's the survivor. He gets it. He understands the brutal reality of the arena.
Yeah.
But he recognizes the humanity in these men, the men that he manages. He's tough on Maximus, but you can tell there's a respect there.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe even, a little bit of fatherly affection.
I think so. And of course, we can't forget Jimon Hansu as Juba,
The Numidian hunter.
who becomes Maximus's closest friend. Their friendship is just one of the most touching parts of the film.
I love their scenes together. They find solace in each other's strength. They share their hopes, their fears, navigating this treacherous world together.
It's a bond that just transcends language, culture. It's about the power of human connection, even in the most brutal circumstances.
It really is. You mentioned earlier that the film takes some liberties with history. And it's interesting, to think about those choices, the fictional choices, and how they serve the narrative, the themes of the film. Like, Marcus Aurelius didn't actually choose Maximus as his heir in real life.
No, Commodus was his successor. And there's really no evidence that Commodus murdered his father, but their relationship, it was definitely tense.
What?
But by portraying it this way, the filmmakers, they set up this powerful contrast between these two men. Maximus, who embodies those idealized Roman virtues, strength, honor, duty, and then Commodus, who represents, the corruption, that can seep in even to the most powerful families.
It becomes this larger battle for the soul of Rome.
Right.
It's not just a personal vendetta. It's about virtue and ambition, duty and self-interest.
Yeah.
The republic versus the tyranny of, one ruler.
Exactly. And moving on, we have to talk about the cinematography.
Oh, come on.
Ridley Scott, he's a master visual storyteller.
He is.
And Gladiator is a prime example. The sweeping shots of the Roman countryside, the gritty realism of the gladiator barracks, and then the grandeur, the spectacle of the Colosseum. I mean, every frame is breathtaking.
And he uses those visuals to just evoke such emotion. Like that scene when Maximus is reunited with his family in the afterlife.
Yeah.
The soft lighting, the golden wheat fields, beautiful and heartbreaking all at the same time.
It's true. And it's not just about pretty pictures. Scott understands how to use light, shadow, color, and composition to create a mood and atmosphere. He wants to draw you in, make you feel what the characters are feeling.
He's a painter with the camera.
He really is.
And we can't talk about the visual impact without mentioning Hans Zimmer's score.
Oh, come on. The score.
It's not just background music. It is an emotional force.
Mm.
The soaring themes, the haunting melodies, those driving rhythms, it's also perfectly matched to the action and the drama unfolding on screen.
Zimmer's score, it's one of the most iconic in cinematic history, and for good reason. It's this blend of orchestral grandeur, those ethnic influences. It creates this soundscape that's both familiar and exotic, like it transports you back to ancient Rome.
Yes.
While conveying these universal emotions that are at the heart of the story.
It's the kind of score you can listen to on its own. And it still evokes all those emotions, those images, the themes. It's a masterpiece in its own right.
It is. Now, while the film's scope, those epic battles, are captivating, Gladiator also excels in those quieter, more intimate moments. One of the things that I found really resonated with me was the exploration of mortality.
Okay.
You know, Maximus is constantly confronted by death. In the arena, in his memories of his family.
He's haunted by loss. He's lost his family, his home, his freedom. Every time he steps into that arena, he's staring death in the face. And yet, there's this incredible strength, this resilience in him. He never gives up. He never loses sight of his purpose.
It becomes a meditation on how we face our own mortality, how we find meaning and purpose when death is always right there. It gives the film a real philosophical depth.
And it's not just about Maximus's individual journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
The film explores this idea of legacy, the impact we leave on the world, on the people around us.
Right, and Maximus' fight, it's not just about revenge. He's fighting for something bigger. He's fighting for the restoration of the Republic, for justice, a better future for Rome. And he becomes the symbol of hope, inspiration for the oppressed.
He leaves a legacy, one that extends way beyond his own life. He inspires Juba, Lucilla. He becomes this legend, a symbol of that fight for freedom and justice.
He does. And that's what makes Gladiator such a powerful and enduring film. It's not just a spectacle. It's not just a historical epic. It's a story about the human spirit, our ability to overcome adversity, to find meaning in loss, to leave behind a legacy that, well, that inspires generations to come.
And we are back for our final round in the arena. Gladiator, this film, it's got the battles, the betrayals, those complex characters, the historical backdrop.
All of it.
It does. But what is it about Gladiator, this movie, that makes it such a champion? A film that, I mean, over 2 decades later, people are still watching it, loving it.
I think it's that perfect blend of spectacle and substance. You've got the grandeur of Rome, the visceral thrill of that gladiatorial combat, those incredible visuals, but it's the emotional core that really stings with you. Gladiator is about loss, about grief, and ultimately I think about the power of the human spirit. And those themes, they just connect with us. They're timeless.
It's interesting you say that. I remember the first time I saw it, I was just blown away by, well, the scale of it all. The Colosseum, the chariot races, those battle scenes.
Epic.
Epic is the word. But you know what really stuck with me is those quieter moments. Maximus whispering to his dead wife and son.
Oh, yeah.
Juba's unwavering loyalty. Those are the scenes that just get you right here.
It's true. And it's not just Maximus's journey either, right?
Right.
Each character, even Commodus, they're all grappling with these internal struggles. Lucilla's trying desperately to protect her son. You've got Proximo's weary wisdom.
That's true.
They all contribute to this tapestry of human experience that, honestly, the film just weaves so beautifully.
And Ridley Scott, let's talk about him for a minute.
Okay.
The man is a visual storyteller like no other. I mean, every single shot is meticulously composed.
It's like a painting.
It is. And the way he uses light and shadow to just create this mood, this atmosphere, it's masterful.
He's a master. Think about that scene when Maximus enters the arena for the very first time.
Oh, come on.
The camera pans up slowly. And it reveals the vastness of the Colosseum, the roar of the crowd, the Emperor's box just looming over it all. It's a shot that shows you everything. The spectacle, the danger. It's breathtaking.
It is. And then you add Hans Zimmer's score.
Oh, the score!
It is not just background music. It elevates everything.
Yeah.
Those soaring themes, the melodies, they just capture, I don't know, they capture the spirit of Rome.
The emotional turmoil.
Yes.
And Zimmer's score it's one of those rare times where the music goes beyond the film, becomes something bigger. I mean, you hear those opening chords, and you're right back there in the world of gladiators and emperors. Powerful stuff.
It's true. So let's bring this back to our listeners for a second. Why does Gladiator, a film set in ancient Rome, why should it still matter to someone watching it today?
Because beyond all the spectacle, it's a story about values that are just as relevant now as they were then. Courage, integrity, compassion, the struggle against tyranny, standing up for what's right even when it's hard, when it's dangerous. Those themes, they resonate with everyone, no matter who you are, no matter what time you live in.
It also forces you to really think about power, the way it can corrupt, and the responsibility that comes with it. Commodus, I mean, he's a cautionary tale for the ages.
He is.
He's a reminder that power without virtue is a dangerous thing, and that true leadership, it comes from serving something greater than yourself.
And there's that power of human connection. Right. Even in the face of adversity, Maximus finds comfort in his friendship with Juba, the loyalty of his fellow gladiators, even in those little moments of kindness he receives from strangers. Yeah. It's that reminder that even when things are dark, human connection can be that source of strength, hope.
Speaking of hope, one thing I love about this film is that it doesn't shy away from the darkness.
No.
The brutality, the corruption, the consequences of violence. But there's this glimmer of hope.
Always.
This belief that, you know what, good can win. Even in death, there can be a kind of victory.
Exactly. Maximus, he may die in the arena, but he dies a free man. He avenged his family, exposed Commodus, and maybe, just maybe, he planted those seeds for a better Rome. His legacy lives on, and it inspires others to fight for what's right. It's a powerful message, and it still resonates today.
It really does. We've covered a lot of ground in this Gladiator deep dive.
Yeah.
The battles, the characters, the themes, the history.
We really went deep.
We did. But what we want to know is, what did you take away from the film? What stuck with you? The scenes, the characters, what questions did it raise?
Yeah.
Share your thoughts, your favorite moments, even your critiques. We want to hear from you down in the comments.
Absolutely. And if you enjoyed our deep dive into Gladiator, if you're ready for more epic journeys through the world of film,
Hit that like button.
subscribe to our channel.
I'll see you at the next premiere.